Hi there. There are a lot of unboxing videos of the Canon EOS M out there. In this video, we will run through a few scenarios like focus speed comparison test with the original Canon EOS M, look and feel, focus speed with the EF lenses, zoom feature, etc. Here I'm using a yo-yo as the moving subject. Let's look at the difference between the shot-to-shot duration of the EOS M3 and the EOS M. One of the biggest issues with the Canon EOS M was that it had slower focus speed with the screen going blank for some time between shot to shot. This resulted in a lot of missed opportunities, especially if you're using it for family events and fast moving subjects like kids. With the EOS M3, this issue is very minimal. Another issue, as you can see here, is that the original EOS M had a bad battery life. On the EOS M3, it's really good. It's staying much longer. The feel of the EOS M is good. It feels more dense. The texture is smooth when compared to the EOS M3. The buttons feel a bit better. It looks a little more sensitive than the EOS M3, and it can be clicked without being pushed really hard. On the EOS M3, startup and shutdown is much faster than the original Canon EOS M. Buttons like the play button on the EOS M3 is a bit hard to press. On the EOS M3, the display is sharper and the menus are really crisp. The electronic viewfinder that came almost free with the EOS M3 is awesome. It feels like it's a must and should be shipped free with the EOS M3. It does not look like a retina display, but it's really close. The one thing that concerns me are the numerous pins the viewfinder has at the bottom. So I feel I have to be really careful when I put it on and take it off. The tiny pin connectors are also there at the hot shoe of the camera. I need to make sure it's covered. The cover is so tiny, there's a chance of losing it. The zoom and focus feature works differently in the autofocus mode and the manual mode. In the autofocus mode, you zoom in by pressing the right button above the back wheel. After it's zoomed in, when you click to focus, you'll see that the screen zooms out, and then on getting focus, it zooms back in. It's nice. In the manual mode, when you zoom in, it stays zoomed in. You can then adjust the lens manually. It works great with the focus peaking enabled. Focus peaking is a feature that shows the area of focus by highlighting the area in focus by a color. You can choose different colors for focus peaking on the camera. On electronic screens, this is a huge help. Touch functionality on the EOS M is a lot less than the original EOS M. So for current users of the EOS M, it would be a bit difficult. For DSLR users, the wheel adjustments are just like you find it on the DSLR. Here you can see that the exposure compensation cannot be done by touch. You need to use the wheel above. I would have liked the touch feature too. Sometimes you just don't want to tilt the camera towards you when you're changing the exposure compensation. The way to move the focus point back to the center has changed. Now you need to press and hold the right button above the wheel. On the EOS M, it was easier by just clicking on the bottom part of the back of the wheel. You can now adjust the values of the aperture and the shutter speed by turning the wheel around the shutter button. This is a great feature that the EOS M lacked. In the manual mode, the wheel around the shutter button adjusts the shutter speed, and the wheel behind the camera adjusts the aperture. The flip screen is a welcome update. It helps in shooting very low angles. For high angles, when the camera is pointing down, the screen does not come down completely. You can see that the screen will be still at an angle when you're holding the camera high with the lens pointed down. The Wi-Fi feature is awesome. You have to press the play button and press the top of the back button wheel. You will see a menu showing the devices that you can connect to. Once you select it, it will start transmitting the Wi-Fi signals. You can see that by the green blinking LED on top of the camera. You then change the Wi-Fi of your phone to the camera Wi-Fi. To use remote feature, you need to install the EOS remote app on your phone. After connecting, when you open the app, you will see two options. One, to take pictures, and other, to review the pictures. You need to go to the settings to enable the autofocus button. Then you will see a tiny button next to the big button on the app. One of the best features for Canon DSLR users is that you can use regular EF lenses on the EOS M3. You need to use an adapter. The lens I have on the camera now is the 85mm prime. As you can see, it focuses fast. I've also used third-party lenses like Tamron 17-35, Tamron 28-75 Di, and the Sigma. All of them have worked well on the Canon EOS M3. The EOS M works great with all the Canon flashes. One thing I noticed was that you can actually see the exposure compensation on the LCD screen So if you make it like +1 or +2 compensation, you can actually see that next to the flash icon on the LCD screen of the camera. Yongnuo Flash 600 does not work directly when mounted on the camera. I did not try on the manual mode. I think it might work if I put it on the manual mode. However, when I used the Yongnuo TTL transmitter, the 600 Yongnuo Flash worked. When I selected the TTL mode, it reverted back to the manual mode and it worked.